Hello and welcome to the Meet the Mun video for Natasha Romanoff's Romanoff Not Romanova. My name is Bro. Many of you know me as Bro, and that's the only thing I'm going to introduce myself as, Bro. So let's just jump right in, shall we? Let's see. I asked you guys to submit some questions of things that you might want to know about me, and surprisingly, a lot of you did. Let's start off with my dear Tony. My name is Tony Stark. She asked, well, I shouldn't say she, I don't know if you're a she. They asked, when did you start role-playing and why? Oh, this makes me feel old. I started role-playing about 13 years ago, when I was about 9 years old. It was on a website called Power Pets. It was a virtual pet site. There was a role-playing forum on there, and I didn't know what was going on. I just was reading all the different threads, and it was like, what is this? And all the people there were so supportive and so helpful, and they helped me get right into it. Some of the first things I started playing were Harry Potter. I did Remus Lupin for a long time. He was my muse. And after that, I started learning and developing how to make my own characters, and I started doing original role-playing for a long time. And I just recently got back into fandom RPing, just about maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And I usually just stick to Tumblr for that. But yeah, I started role-playing because it was just so fascinating to me. People writing these stories together, coming up with these fantastic, amazing, incredible ideas, and just making them into reality, and writing something that could very well be published, and just for fun. And I wanted to be a part of that because I love writing, and I love coming up with these fantastic ideas to enact with people, and sometimes it's just amazing, you know? I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about. It's just so creative, and it was just love at first sight. I love role-playing. It's something I'm going to be doing until I'm old and gray and crippled and in a wheelchair. They continue to ask, other fandoms you are a part of and would consider role-playing in. Okay. I'm a part of a lot of fandoms. Like, I have a lot of fandoms, but I wouldn't role-play in a lot of them because either it's not something easily role-played, or the fandom is a very small one, or something like that. But I am a huge fan of the Marvel Universe in general, and if I was more comfortable with a lot of the characters, I would make blogs for them. I would really want to make a Janet blog, Wasp, but I don't have a good grasp of her character. I do have blogs. I have other role-playing blogs for minor fandoms, like the Brothers Bloom. I have one for the movie Hannah, and for Star Trek, I role-play Jadzia Dax. Who else do I have? Oh, I have Lyra Silvertongue from His Dark Materials, the Golden Compass, Subtle Knife, Amber Spyglass. And I've been really getting the itch to make a new blog for Lisbeth Salander from the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series. Other than that, I think that's about it. I wouldn't really want to spread out into like the Supernatural or the Hannibal fandoms, because I still haven't gotten a good grasp of them yet. Okay, next question. Any particular AU or scenarios that you've been wanting to play out? Oh, I could go on about this for hours and hours and hours. You do not even know. I have so many ideas for so many different scenarios and so many AUs. If I could, I'd have 50 threads with all of my favorites. I was just actually having a conversation with my go-to Steve Munn, Star Spangled Legend, and I was telling her if she let me, then I would have about 20 threads with her. And she's an enabler, let me tell you. She's an enabler. But I do love AUs. I love AUs. The fluffier the better. Coffee shop, college, high school. I have a I have a high school one going on right now, and it's just really awesome. And I love that one. That's with Agent Barton of Shield. Um, One that I really have been wanting to try out is an AU where Natasha is the dashing rogue hero who rescues the guileless, helpless prince from the clutches of the evil captor. Just kind of take that trope and turn it on its head and switch the gender roles. Just something really campy. Um, I I want to do more Red Room RPs back in the Soviet era. Back when Natasha's the killer that we know her to be. I want to do more. I want to just do more. Anything, just anything. I'm open for anything. Oh, tell me about the hotel. Now, a lot of you don't know this, or if you do, I don't know. I've been ranting about it a bit on my blog lately. I work at a hotel. I work at the front desk at a Holiday Inn. And it is one of the most stressful jobs I've ever had. I'm not going to be there for very much longer, but I have gotten a lot of fun stories from my couple months here at the hotel. Let me just start off with a few statistics, and just to give you a general overview of what I've had to deal with. I've had to call the police 4 times. There have been 2 bodies found on premises. I've been physically assaulted once. And the nickname this hotel has in the general area is the Roach Motel, because this is where people go to kill themselves. They check in, but they don't check out. It is extremely morbid, and I did not know that when I was going in. It's got it's actually gotten a reputation for being haunted by the souls of these people who've taken their own lives. And actually, a few weeks ago, the Ghost Adventures crew stayed with us. They were doing a show at a local mansion that's really haunted. And I work nights and they work nights, or they work during the day and they stay up all night, rather. And I got to know them, and they're pretty cool. And they let me try out some of their filming and ghost equipment stuff. And we were checking it out, and we were getting some pretty high readings at the hotel. And they said that they were gonna come back and check it out because of these high readings, and they were very curious about it. Now, I didn't really believe in ghosts going into working at this place. I'm a very pragmatic person. If I've never seen it in my own life, then it's very difficult for me to believe in it. But when I started working overnights here, little things just started happening to me. Like, it was just, first I just passed it off as my imagination, I'm just seeing things. I'm tired. I'm working 8 hours from 11 to 7. Awful shifts. But then it just started manifesting more and more. Like, I'd see shadows of movement, and I'd hear things, and it was getting to the point where I couldn't just ignore it. And one of the most jarring experiences I had at this hotel was around 4 in the morning. I was making the coffee for the guests who were checking out in the morning, and I was in the back kitchen. I had a radio at my hip, and I was just doing my thing, and all of a sudden I hear a muffled voice. And I thought, oh, maybe I left the radio up in the front of the kitchen, and my security guard's trying to tell me there was somebody at the front desk waiting for me. So I start going up, but then I realize it's still at my hip. So then, naturally, I assume that it was one of the kitchen staff who came in early, so I called out a hello, and I hear this laughing. Just a tittering little laugh, and I was just like, okay. Now I'm thinking that somebody's trying to mess with me. And so I get my radio and I go to where the noise was coming from, and it was in the hallway where the freezers were, and it was completely pitch black. Now, that really wouldn't be a problem, except our lights are motion sensitive, So if somebody was down in that hallway, the lights would be on. And as I was looking in there to see if there's like somebody just sitting there, like not moving, that's been there for a while, like a creep or something, all the lights just turn on, and I hear this crash in the vents above me. And I'm pretty proud to say that self-preservation is pretty high on my list, and I don't consider it cowardice at all to say that I got the hell out of Dodge as fast as I could, and I booked it back to the front desk. I did not go back into that kitchen. Needless to say, the guests did not get their coffee, and I was, uh, I believe in ghosts now. I just, I believe in ghosts. When I talk about this hotel to my friends, I call it the Overlook. And for those of you who are not familiar, that's the hotel from The Shining. I swear one day I'm going to open up the elevators and it's just going to be blood gushing out of it. I swear. Okay. Onward and upwards. Let's see. Chris Barton of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh yes, Chris Barton of S.H.I.E.L.D. They asked, why and when did you decide to RP Natasha? Well, this is actually a funny story. I decided to RP Natasha actually when I was a little drunk and a little angry. About a month, maybe a month and a half ago, I was really getting upset over the mischaracterization of Natasha on this website, and I could not find a single blog that portrayed her in the way that I thought she should be portrayed, and I was bitching about it to my dear Loki, Mischief, maker of Mischief, and I just, at some point, I said, you know what? I'm not going to complain about this anymore, I'm going to fix it. So I made the blog, and people may not like how I characterize her, but I didn't make it for them, I made her for me. Really. Anyway, next question from my so-mentioned maker of Mischief, my dear Loki, my favorite Loki. Do you play video games, and if so, what's your favorite? You little shit. You had to ask the hardest question, didn't you? This is right here here's the hardest question I've gotten, and I love video games. I just love them. Every manner, every type, every kind. I love, love, love them. Love them so much. My favorite, that's like asking me to choose between my organs, and I can't. I love all my organs. I do like my pancreas a little bit better than my liver. That's a different story. But as of right now, my favorite video games are Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Portal 2, and Pokemon Silver. Now, I enjoyed Skyrim, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the gameplay mechanics I was very disappointed in, and I find myself going back to Oblivion more and more, and I play it on my PC, so I have it graphically looking just as beautiful as Skyrim, so that isn't really a bother to me. I've put in well over, oh my goodness, I have saves that have well over 900 hours playtime on this game. It's a little pathetic, I have to admit. But in general, I love sweeping RPGs, and Bethesda has really been cornering the market in that. Between Fallout and the Elder Scrolls series, I can't really go wrong in picking up one of those ones. Anything from Valve, I love. Portal, Half-Life, Team Fortress, I love it. They're quirky, they're fun, they're silly. Anything, yes please. Anything. And I've really not met a Pokemon game that I've disliked. It can get a little bit repetitive in the early generations, but they've been adding a lot more stuff into the new ones, and I mean, it's still the same core game, and that's what I'm looking for. It's a lot of new Pokemon to learn, which is, admittedly, I'm 150. I'm purist right there, but I can accept the new ones with a grain of salt. But, I mean, really, is there anything as satisfying as raising a bunch of little beasts to pound the shit out of each other? I don't think so. Okay, the next question is from my favorite Bruce. Banner Science Bro. What's your favorite Avenger ship if you have any? Oh, baby, I have a lot of them. I don't think anybody on Tumblr doesn't have an Avenger ship. So let's get this party started. My two favorite ships, because I can't really pick one. Hawkeye and Black Frost. I love the relationship between Hawkeye and the Hulk in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They didn't really get that much of a relationship in the Avengers movie, but I'm hoping that might change in the Avengers 2. But in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it's just they're best friends, and the give and take between them is just so cute, and it's just a classic case of opposites attract, and it makes me so happy, and it's so fluffy. And I mean, it can be a bro TP, but it's one of my OTPs, hardcore. I just love Hawkeye. Black Frost, Natasha and Loki. This one is so bittersweet for me because I want nothing more from my Natasha to find a Loki and just have this smarmy, snarky relationship with a whole bunch of subtle backstabbing and outwitting each other and just, in the end, hate fucking. And really begrudgingly accepting the fact that they do like each other. The problem with this is my Natasha hates Loki. She simply hates him. So any hope that I have for this ship of working is purely in AU's, where she doesn't have the history that she has with Loki. The best example of this is my Heartless AU with my Maker of Mischief. And that is the fluffiest AU I can get, and it's so AU. It's so out of Natasha that it's the only way that this ship can work. The next question from my dear Banner. What is your favorite and your least favorite thing about role-playing? Well, my favorite thing about role-playing is just all these fantastic people coming together and combining their talents to make these epic, beautiful storylines, whether it be angst or action or fluff or even romance. It's just so amazing, and you see them going on for months and months, and a lot of the time they're longer than most novels by the end, and they're much better written than a lot of novels, in my opinion. I have, with my Loki, I have an RP that's 203 pages long, and it's about 126,000 words. That's a really freaking long fan fiction, or a really small novel. I just love people coming together, bringing their talents to the table. Some people are good at making up ideas, some people are good at pushing the plot along, some people are fantastic at coming up with these ridiculous scenarios that just make you grin. It's beautiful. That's what I love about it. My least favorite thing about RPing is, well, I get really invested in my RPs and I get really excited about it. And when my partner doesn't seem like they're just as excited, it feels like they're just indulging me, and it feels like they're just kind of going along for the ride and they're not really enjoying the ride. And I want all of my partners to be to get just as much enjoyment out of the RP as I am. And if I feel like it's just one-sided, just for me, then it kind of makes me feel like I'm being selfish. And I don't like being selfish. So I really just want people to enjoy it just as much as I am. So I try and make it enjoyable for all of my RP partners. And that's why I always want them to tell me if there's something that's happening that they don't like, because I swear it won't bother me in the least. I swear it won't. I just want to make your stay as pleasant as possible. Another thing I don't like is seeing all these wonderful RPers on my dashboard saying that they don't think that they're quality, and that just hurts because they are. I mean, I am very picky about the people I follow. I'm making this video because I reached my 100 follower mark. I follow maybe about 20 blogs because I'm very picky about who I follow. If I do not think that they're bringing something to the table, then I will not follow them. I follow most of the people that I RP with. Most. And I just like seeing these quality threads on my blog, and that's what I fill it up with. So if I'm following you, I swear to you, you're a beautiful, amazing writer, and there's nothing for you to worry about. What made you start RPing, and why Natasha? Well, as I mentioned before, I started RPing because I just wanted to write, and I love writing, and I love writing with other people, and a lot of times when I just try and write on my own, I lose motivation, but when I'm writing with somebody else, the motivation never leaves, because there's always something fresh, always something new, always something amazing that's going on. And I am always just so looking forward to replies, and I'm so looking forward to composing replies for people, even though I do drag my heels a lot, admittedly. I do and that's on me. That's nothing to do with you guys. It's just I let life get in the way a lot. Why Natasha? Well, like I said before, I didn't like how I saw her being portrayed, and instead of complaining about it and bitching and all that, I made my own Natasha blog. I mean, I'm not bashing any other Natasha. That's perfectly fine. How you want to portray her, that's perfectly fine. I just don't portray her that way. I see her as a cold, untrusting son of a bitch who's really, really, really manipulative. And she doesn't have any close people to her, except for maybe Bucky and Clint. That's it. Other people, it's just manipulation, and she's a bit of a bitch, and I know that, and I accept if people don't want to RP with her because she's not warm and friendly and accepting. That's completely fine. There's dozens of other Natasha blogs that offer that, and you can go to one of them. But if you want my version of Natasha, then I'm always open for something. Okay, and thank you all for those wonderful questions. Those are the last of the questions from the people who didn't go on Anon. I still have some from my lovely Anons. My lovely Anons. I say that with a grain of salt. You Anons are little shits, let me tell you that. So a quick shout out. I love you, Banner Science Bro, Maker of Mischief, Chris Barton of S.H.I.E.L.D., and my name is Tony Stark. Thank you so much for giving me these wonderful questions to answer. I know that you just love the sound of my voice as much as I love the sound of my voice. Okay, now on to the Anon questions. These ones had me laughing. Let me tell you something. I love Anons. I love Anon hate. I think it's the funniest thing. I get verbally harassed for a living. It doesn't bother me in the least. So let's start off with the first one. What's the deal with your URL? It's stupid. Yes, my URL has been called into question a lot of times because people don't understand it. And you know what? That's fine. People don't have to understand it. Surprisingly enough, even though it's right in my URL, RomanoffnotRomanova, people still refer to my Natasha as Romanova. Now, I understand that it's technically the proper female tense in Russian, and I understand that Romanova is what she's referred to in some comics. Let me explain why it's Romanoff, not Romanova. At least for me. At least why it's my URL. Natasha was born Natalia Romanova, and that was before the Red Room indoctrinated her. They turned her into a weapon, they turned her into a tool. They made her a wholly different person, and they gave her the name Natasha Romanoff. When she defected, she could have easily gone back to Natalia Romanova. She could have easily picked up a different name. But what she was, who she was that weapon at this point. And that weapon's name was Natasha Romanoff. Natalia Romanoff was killed. She's dead. She doesn't exist anymore. That was Natasha's innocence. So, while her name was Romanova, she does not associate with it anymore. Her name is Romanoff now. Gender binaries be damned. That's the little ditty on my URL. It's a little pretentious, I guess, that I completely shut out one half of the fandom that call her Romanova. But it's how I think of it, and that's how I think Natasha thinks of it. In my head canon. Mine, personally mine. The next lovely Anon. Why is your Natasha such a cunt? Thank you for the eloquent question. My Natasha is a cunt because she's a cold, manipulative little bitch. I said that before. I'm not gonna apologize for it. That isn't to say she isn't capable of affection. Clint and Bucky are two of the closest people to her heart, and if you've seen any of my threads with Master Marksman, you'll see that she does have a soft side for Clint. And she has a huge soft side for Clint because he reminds her so much of Bucky, or Yasha as she knew him back in the Red Room. And really, she doesn't make friends with people. Like, she will establish relationships that people might consider friendships, but she doesn't actually have any feelings for these people unless they really work at it. The closest friends she has are the Avengers, and out of all that, it's really only Clint she considers a friend. Everybody else she considers a colleague, and she trusts them to a point, and she respects their skills, definitely. Now, I mean, she's a weapon. Natasha knows she's a weapon, and like all weapons, they become obsolete. When S.H.I.E.L.D. decides she's obsolete, she'll likely be killed, because in her mind, she'll still be a threat. So, she keeps her guard up at all time, and she doesn't let people get close enough to drive that knife into her ribs. She will not let somebody do that to her. What she will do is make a little web to catch her when her shield cushion is yanked from underneath her. Because having friends in high and low places is very important, and she knows that. So she will manipulate people into liking her so that when something bad happens, she can fall back on them for assistance if she needs it. Really. That's why she's a cunt. She's just manipulative. You're not going to find a warm, fluffy Natasha at this blog, and I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. Okay. Other blogs I run. Okay, I have a personal blog called For Politeness' Sake, and that's a lot of fandom stuff, and I do some movie reviews there. A lot of you know that I'm a huge cinephile. I love movies. Other role-playing blogs I have. If you guys are interested in any of them, just hit me up. I can give you the URL. That's not a problem. They're kind of on hiatus right now, but if given the right amount of incentive, I can definitely boot them back up. Not a problem. The muses are still near and dear in my heart. The most active one besides Natasha is my Lyra Silvertongue one. That's from the His Dark Material trilogy, set about 10 years after the fact, so she's an adult, and it's Lyra and Pan, and it's just, if you're a fan of the series, then come hit me up. I really just need people on that blog, because I love playing her so much. Aside from that, I have Jadzia Dax from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. She is the head science officer on the space station, and she is just a little shit. And if you like strong, opinionated women, then you might like her. I run Stephen Bloom from the movie Brothers Bloom. He's a con man, and his face claim is Mark Ruffalo, and he's that movie, Brothers Bloom, fantastic movie, and he is without the killing bit, a male Natasha in a lot of ways. He can sell dirt to a ditch digger and ice to an Eskimo. In some cases he has. He's I love playing manipulative people. I guess maybe that says something about me. I don't know. Um Hannah, I have a blog from the movie Hannah, and I play the character Hannah. She is a 17-year-old girl who is a super soldier, basically. Her DNA was altered in the womb, and she was raised to be a weapon. She has no empathy, she has no mercy, she doesn't know how to fear things. She is the perfect soldier. And she is on the run from the CIA, who wanted to end the program. And she is very similar in respects to Natasha and to Steve, but not a lot of people knew about the movie, so that one didn't really take off. So, whatever. If you guys are interested in any of those, just hit me up. Like I said, I'm up for any RPs with any of my muses. Okay, what are your favorite movies? This is almost as difficult as what are my favorite video games. Almost, because I can categorize movies a lot easier than I can video games. I am a huge cinephile. I worked for Blockbuster for about 4.5 years, and I just love movies. I love, love, love movies. Good, bad, ugly. I can find merit in anything that you sit me down in front of. The Room, fantastic, awful movie. I loved it. I love horror movies. Horror movies are my favorite genre of movies. I love horror movies. I love smart capers. I love movies that are bloody and gory. I love action movies with huge explosions. I love silly, fluffy rom-coms. I just love movies. My favorite movies, well, for horror, I'd have to say my favorite movie is the original Night of the Living Dead, and that's simply because it's so razor sharp in its social commentary, and I just love zombies. If you have not seen the original, I highly suggest you go do that right now. Generally speaking, I love Tarantino movies. He's a fantastic director. A lot of people give him flack because of the decisions he makes, how violent his movies are, the language that they use in them. And yeah, I can see how they're kind of crass in some aspects and a little bit racist in others, and sexist in a lot of other ways. But I can appreciate the movies for how in-depth and deep they are, because all of his movies are interconnected in some way or another, and it's fantastic. If you ever have spare time to kill, just look up Tarantino's movies and how they're related to one another. I swear to you, it'll blow your mind. It's ridiculous. Movies with symbolism and wide-reaching thematic arcs are just killers for me. I love him. That's why I like the movie Hannah so much. It's got so many fairy tale allusions. She's Little Red Riding Hood. The CIA is the big bad wolf. And it just goes on and on and on in that aspect, and it's just so fantastic. Okay. Only a couple left. I swear to you, this will be ending soon. You won't have to listen to me any longer. If you're still with me, wow. Okay. Comics. Comics. Okay. You're just asking about comics. Well, let's see. Matt Fraction's Hawkeye is my favorite out right now. I love it. I love Hawkeye. He's my favorite Avenger. And he just perfectly nails him. The writing is just so smart and so witty. The storylines are just so heart-wrenching and so amazing. I love it. I love it. And I love the artist, David Aja. His illustrations are just so beautiful. He manages to make a beautiful, wonderful comic without objectifying or sexualizing women out of context or idealizing men. He draws people like they're people. Women have their internal organs and they have intact spines, and men aren't all Adonis-like. It's wonderful. He just draws people, and they might not be the most attractive, but this is proving that that doesn't have any bearing on the selling or on the marketing, because it's doing really fucking well. Apart from Hawkeye, I've been reading The Indestructible Hulk, and while that has a few issues that I have problems with, it's still a great series, and it has a grumpy Bruce Banner, which I find absolutely adorable. Um, I really have been enjoying The Young Avengers, the most recent one that's been coming out, and Fractions, Fantastic Four, and FF. Those are really well done. I love those just so much. Okay, final question. TV shows. What are my favorite TV shows? As of right now, my favorite television show is Hannibal. I love Hannibal. I've read the books, I've seen the movies. This TV show is fantastic. I love it. Followed shortly after that is Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, the original series. I'm a huge Trekkie. I'm a huge Trekkie. There's nothing about me that isn't a Trekkie. I really enjoy Supernatural, though I haven't finished all the seasons yet, and Sherlock, because really, Benedict Cumberbatch. I've not watched Doctor Who, but don't yell at me, it's on my to-do list. I swear I'll get it done eventually. And that wraps it up. That's the last question. Just over 36 minutes. So, thank you so much for all the follows. Thank you for all the questions. And thank you for sitting and listening to me talk on and on and on like this. You guys are fantastic. I love you all. Bro loves you all. Natasha, maybe not, but me, I do. So, I hope you all have a wonderful night. And I swear to you, if you want to start RPing, just send me an ask. I'm a very friendly person. Bro out.